thing.
Let's do the thing.
Okay, so start the meeting. We're recording. Good. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Easthampton Ranked Choice Voting Ad Hoc Committee is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to view this meeting while in progress may do so by connecting via Zoom as described on the meeting agenda. I love the last sentence of that because it's completely circular. But
yeah, tell me how to connect to this meeting that I'm connected to.
Okay, cool. Let's get a little column of people here and public speak. There's no members of the public this time, which is too bad because it's always cool when there are. Approval of minutes. We do not have minutes from last week's meeting yet. Does anyone remember who took them?
I want to say it was Owen.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to guess
it
was Owen. I think it was Owen, but
does that mean it's my turn again? We've come around in the alphabet.
I believe so. Yeah.
All right. So. Hold on. Let me open up my what's it?
I hate to interrupt your net.
Well, has everyone done them twice so far?
I think I have.
I haven't. I suppose it is getting close. Maybe the next.
Barb, I thought we exempted you because of.
Well, I have gotten caught up. So how about I'll say I can do it the next time.
Okay. Right. Thank you, Barbara. That sounds good.
So we don't have minutes to approve. Sarah's gonna do the minutes for this meeting.
Yeah.
A little person. Hello.
That's Joe.
I don't know that okay, so let's see, new member discussion. We do have a new member. They haven't been at a meeting yet, but they hopefully will be here next time. I think we should kind of make it a priority to schedule it so that they can join us next month. Cool. Okay. So I don't think this is going to be a terribly long meeting, but ordinance discussion, I want to pull that up real quick. Okay. So, so I sent a copy of the ordinance as it is now to Barbara, maybe yesterday, so that that can go to Michelle, who I think is the person at the state who is certifying or putting a stamp on this process. So I wanted to bring up, since the ordinance now is more or less in a done-ish state, whatever that means. You know, we've gone through it a bunch of times, we've made our notes, we've kind of fleshed it out, and is now a good time to send it to other people for feedback, notably maybe the city lawyer or the mayor or other city council members, or I don't know, how does the next step on this stuff usually go, Tom?
I have some mixed feelings about it, but I in general, I think it's not bad to informally shop it around. My one thing is, I think when we met last, we had suggested that we might want to hold off on sending it out until we received the software and were able to actually test run it. So anyone who asked, we could like say definitively, like, yes, this like this process, if put into action, would lead to a successful ranked choice election.
Right, that's right. I do remember that conversation now. So I think that's a good call. A small update to that is, it looks like Barbara and I will be doing training with Jeff the very end of March or beginning of April. I'm now remembering there were other people who were, more people than I expected, who were interested in also participating in that. So that's the area that we're looking in for doing that. And I believe that's going to coincide with us getting the laptop and the software.
Yeah, I think Jeff will deliver the laptop and everything that same day.
Yeah.
And then go through the training. So yeah,
So
he's tied up pretty much. He's got some kind of a audit of something in New Hampshire. So he doesn't know when that's going to be, but he did say he was available the beginning of April and maybe the tail end of March. So.
Okay. I mean, that sounds great. I don't have to be involved. Like if there's a schedule conflict for me, then like, obviously that's not like a limiting factor. You guys should just go ahead. But just because I know that I'm going to be the one will ultimately present this to like a city council public hearing, I feel like it would just feel good to be like, oh, I took the training and participated, you know, sort of like through this whole thing. And I can definitively say that this is going to work. And there's not like, I don't want a situation like what we had with our special election for the city council, where we realized like a week before that we were going to have to make some tweaks to the rules. And some folks, I think in pretty bad faith, like picked that up as a like sign that we were somehow tampering with the election. So, you know, like I'm very conscious of those optics. And so I'd love to just be, even though I don't think I would add anything to the process, it would just be nice for me to be there.
Cool.
I think that makes a lot of sense, Tom, because then if there's questions, you can actually, you'll have experienced how it all flows. So, I mean, for me, I mean, afternoons are, I mean, I don't think that we want to make poor Jeff come out at night. I mean, I was thinking early afternoon or something like that.
I can make that work.
I just replied to you recently, but all of the dates that you listed, all 5 of them are fine for me. So.
Okay.
So that sounds great. We're going to get that scheduled with Jeff as soon as we have availability dates for that or more information. We'll be sending that out to everybody. So I do have a little bit of confirmation, a little bit of feedback from Jeff. I had asked him a question that was about the uses precinct setting. I just wanted to confirm that this is a little moot because we're going to get the software and we're going to be able to play with it and to test this on our own. But anyway, he got an answer back from a person at Dominion, and I'll read it to you. It just says, this is about the use precincts option in the settings. Using that checkbox just allows the results to be broken out at the precinct level in results reports. In the RCV reports, there's an option to show precincts. In order to be able to break out the results by precinct, the uses precincts checkbox in the RCV profile needs to be selected. So this 90% confirms to me that this does not affect the math or the calculation, tabulation. It's just the reporting. So it'll be interesting to play with that a little bit when it comes in, but it's good because I had a little worry that this was going to affect the actual algorithm and perhaps the results, but it appears from this that that's not going to be the case. So that's cool. Oh, we kind of jumped the gun and talked about training dates a little bit sooner than was on our agenda, but that's cool.
Oh, I want to talk about the state part of it.
Yes, please.
So yeah, I am not totally clear on exactly what the state's role in this is, but I do know that the state has to certify us to use it. And in order to do that, you know, I've reached out to the elections division, Michelle Tassinari, and she has to get LHS in to their office to do it in person.
Oh, wow.
She did ask me on Monday, I think it was, for the for what we're looking at. So I sent her today the ordinance and also that little chart thing that you had sent, Dan.
Okay.
I told her, I said, I probably can't answer the questions if she has any, but I know of somebody who can. So I'm not exactly sure when that's going to happen. And I don't know what happens if it gets really delayed or if there's issues, whether it would cause problems with us using it. I mean, hopefully it's far enough out that it'll get taken care of, but it is something that's between Jeff and the state. It doesn't really involve us, but
Right. Okay.
I asked him if he could try to explain to me what they have to do, and he told me that he'd rather have Michelle explain that. So I don't know.
Okay.
So.
Well, I guess we'll take it a step at a time and cross those bridges when we come to it. I don't foresee any problems coming up, considering that the history that Jeff and Cambridge has had. I mean, that's the same state, so.
I know. I'm just really a little bit unclear as to
what they're even doing,
what exactly their role is in it, but I guess it's an election matter, and they have to okay it.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to jump on the train of emailing Michelle also for regular.
Well, I know her, so
if needed. Yeah.
Let me just work. I mean, she did get back to me when I asked her this. Jeff asked me to give her a little poke because he hadn't heard anything. So I did, and she did get back to me. So
that's good. Good.
We'll see.
All right. Well, that's interesting. It's sort of I guess we'll all kind of learn what that entails, or we won't, and they'll just kind of say like, oh, you're good to go.
Well, saying that, Jeff, they still have not certified the poll pads, even though a lot of communities are using them.
And that's legal for them to be using them?
The state legislature okayed them and instructed the state to certify at least one manufacturer, but that was in July of last year. We just had a clerk's meeting today, and everybody was like, we're allowed to use it, and we're going to use it. So.
Okay.
I mean, it makes sense if the legislature didn't say you can't use it unless it's certified. I mean, they could say use it and then order a certification with no teeth,
Right. Right.
Hopefully that's the case here too with us.
Yeah.
I mean, it just makes me wonder if a candidate who lost could sue and say this election was conducted with uncertified equipment.
But they could.
Good point.
Well, hopefully, I mean, we're not the only community that's going in. I mean, Amherst is also going to be using ranked choice voting for the first time.
And the same machines.
Yeah. So, I mean, if there's two communities, hopefully they see this as a priority.
So Amherst is in a little bit of a pickle because they realized too late that they need a special act to do this. So their process, their decision-making process and their charter review and they voted on the charter and all that. It's a little different path, but they're in a case now where for a while, I think they didn't realize they would need a special act, and now they realize they do. And so they're in that game of trying to get.
Do they have November elections?
I believe they do.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're I don't know, I'm not super up to date on that, but the last I read was that they were in that zone of getting a special act through the legislature, which I mean, I don't see any reason why it should be hard, but
it's just slow.
It's just slow, yeah. Okay, so that's sort of good news from the state. I'm glad Michelle is responsive. So we'll see how that goes.
We'll see what she says after she looks over the ordinance.
Yeah, and it's not pages and pages of material,
No, it's not.
Pretty short. So as part of our ordinance discussion, I'm just going to kind of roll this into it. I want to look at the tabulation settings document that I wrote. I'm going to share the screen somehow. How do I do this? Share screen. That one.
Oh, sorry. My screen's just. All right, all good.
Did that work for everybody? You got the green box?
Yep.
Cool. Okay, so in regards to the, oops, sorry, hold on a sec. Did we take out of the ordinance the thing about, oh yeah, no. Okay, so we have, okay. So section 4, or whatever it's gonna be in the big ordinance thing for tabulation, 4E says a summary written in plain English of all software configuration settings that have any potential to affect the results must be posted on the city website prior to the candidate filing deadline and posted at each polling location. So this is the first draft of that document. Anything about this can change because I just made everything up. But I'm just going to go over it and then we can talk about it. So one sheet, Easthampton uses the following software configuration settings for ranked choice voting elections. And then we got 6 little bits here. Overall counting process. The overall method of counting votes follows a process called instant runoff voting. This method is often used for contests that have a single winner. If no candidate receives a majority of votes, then the candidate with the fewest votes is eliminated and the ballots are counted again, with the votes going to the highest ranked candidate on each ballot who has not been eliminated. Each count is called a round. These rounds continue until some candidate has a majority of the votes. This candidate is declared the winner.
Do you think it's maybe worth it to actually just define a majority as like greater than 50%?
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
I like that idea. You know what I'm going to do? Instead of sharing the PDF, I'm going to share this one. So how do I do that? Okay, stop, share, and then share screen, and then off the window, share. Okay.
There's one further up in the
Yeah.
paragraph.
Oh.
They want to probably say it up there.
Yep. If no candidate receives a majority, more than 50%.
Do you think it might be a little clearer if for the first sentence we say something like, votes are counted by a process called instant runoff voting? I think it's just less words better.
3 are counted. This is basically designed to address the, I'm not going to share it right now, but the setting that is called RCV method. And the options there are IRV, STV, or points IRV. And we're obviously using IRV. If we get to do multi-winner, we'll be using STV, and that'll be a whole new thing.
Is the points one the star method?
I don't know if it's exactly star method. I kind of remember the text in the manual, but it has something to do with, I don't remember. The details.
Not important. Not important.
I believe all of these settings exist because of particular jurisdictions that needed them to. So, all right. Should I go on, or we want to talk about this one anymore?
Seems good.
Previous round elimination. In any round, it is possible that 2 or more candidates might be tied for having the fewest number of votes. If this happens, an attempt to break the tie will be made by looking back at the vote totals in the previous round. The candidate who had fewer votes in that round will be eliminated. This process repeats until there is no longer a tie or there is no previous round.
Sounds pretty straightforward.
Sounds good.
This is the do we go backwards, do we go forwards, do we even try and break ties this way option. Tie-breaking decisions. If a tie for fewest votes goes all the way back to the first round and the candidates still remain tied, then the tie will be broken by a random drawing according to the rules in the city charter. The result of this drawing will be recorded and used again in the case of a recount.
Can you change it to home rule charter in the city
yeah.
charter?
Yep. Just capitalized home rule charter, like that.
This maybe in the cities, I don't know, just like small c. Perfect.
Okay. Unresolved write-ins. During the process of counting votes, write-in votes will be resolved so as to count for a particular person. However, some write-in votes may be left unresolved if they are not cast for real people or are not names of people. These rankings for unresolved write-ins will simply be ignored during the counting process, so the next highest ranked candidate on the ballot will receive the vote.
Sounds good.
Cool. Overvoted rankings. An overvote is when two or more candidates are marked for the same ranking. Since the intent of the voter cannot be determined in this situation, an overvoted ranking will not count as a vote for any of the marked candidates, and no lower rankings will be counted.
Do you think it might be worth saying that it doesn't affect previous? I don't know. I don't know if that's helpful or just more confusing.
No, that's a good point, Sarah.
Right, because I think that people are, when when people see discarding, they get nervous. So I don't know. I think it might.
Can you say skipped? Oh no, that's the next one. Well.
Yeah, that's what you're doing is perfect, I think.
Because what we don't want is people going, oh, you messed one thing up, and they throw the whole thing out,
Right. Or like, since they've already been counted, maybe it's like, but this will not affect the ballot. I don't know. Maybe that was good.
And maybe even say, or for any other contests. Right.
I think this is just in particular to those races that are ranked choice voting.
It is, yeah.
I guess to address Sarah's point, if you write an overvote is when two or more candidates are marked for the same ranking in a contest, in a specific contest.
Yeah, in a particular contest or in the same contest. Text, cut. That word Chris said. Contest. Right, because you could, conceivably rank.
I mean, because if the name of the game is education, pack it in there.
Right.
Does that look good? But all higher rankings will still be counted as usual.
Or you could just say, or you could just start a new sentence and say, previous rounds of tabulation are not affected, something like that.
Yeah.
Because that sentence is getting long.
Yeah. Previous rounds or higher rankings?
does it mean the same? I don't see how it matters.
Yeah, I think that looks good what you did.
Cool. Higher rankings are not affected. I like that. An overvote is when two or more candidates are marked for the same ranking in a particular contest. Since the intent of the voter cannot be determined in this situation, an overvoted ranking will not count as a vote for any of the marked candidates. So maybe any of the... I'm going to say these marked candidates because it refers to the ones that are equivalent. Will not count as a vote for any of these marked candidates, and no lower rankings in that contest will be counted. Higher rankings are not affected. Skipped rankings. A skipped ranking is when one or more rankings are left blank, but then a lower ranking is marked. Perhaps the voter was expressing a preference for the lower ranked candidate, but perhaps the voter was expressing an extreme dislike for that candidate. The intent of the voter cannot be determined, so once a ranking is skipped, no lower rankings will be counted.
This was the setting that we had to choose between ignoring all skipped after a skipped and one. We allow one.
No, we can't. We can't.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we covered
not without paying a lot for them to do the software update. So
very good. That's fine.
I think the committee kind of was all on the same page that we'd like to allow skipping one, but we don't have that option.
Okay.
Software wise at the moment. So
yeah, that's what I remember.
So I added that same higher rankings are not affected to this because I think I like that. I like that being repeated.
Yeah, that looks good.
I'll make this all fit on the same page too.
Yeah, we screwed up your formatting.
That's easy to fix. So that's it I see for this. And this is just something, it'll get posted up at the polls. It'll go on the city website and that's that.
Can we give literature out to people who pull papers with the signature forms? Like something like this, so they or their managers or whatever know?
Well, I would say when people bring them, okay, you don't want to give them when people take papers out because you don't know if they're going to bring them back. And even after they bring them back, maybe when I send out the information about the campaign finance, after I've checked their signatures and they're going to be on the ballot. It can be part of the packet that goes out with the campaign finance information and all that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Any other comments or changes or anything that we want to do about this other than formatting? I'm just going to make it fit and whatever.
I think it looks great. You made it look like a ballot, kind of. Was that your intent?
A little bit. I just wanted it to look nice on one piece of paper.
Yeah, looks good.
It does look good.
Good. Cool. All right. Well, then I will fix the formatting and we'll move on from there. Thank you, everybody. I think that kind of wraps up any ordinance discussion for the time being. We're going to punt on that until we... Okay, so here's my last question about maybe sharing it around. What is the process for having the lawyer look at this? Because if that's a weird, at all tricky process, then we might want to get the ball rolling on it. If not, then we can wait. Is that what? So how does it work in terms of getting the opinion of the city lawyer?
No, I just had an email the other day from the mayor's office, and if anybody wants anything reviewed, then we send it to their office. And there's also a kind of cutoff that we can't go too late. So, I mean,
does it make sense to just start that and say, hey, we want the city lawyer to take a look at this? I mean, that sort of doesn't bring up the issues of super verifying everything, but if there's
I mean, that goes back to, do you want to wait until after we do the training, or do we want to do this now? What do you think, Tom?
Well, the cutoff that they're talking about is the end of the fiscal year, because they don't want to authorize any expenditures once they've basically closed out their books. And I think that whether we did it in like now or in March or potentially even April is probably not going to really affect that. I just think, like, I mean, I don't necessarily have a, well, okay, I guess I'm so sorry. I'm like formulating an opinion as I speak, which is not a good look. On one hand, the city solicitor is busy, and sometimes things can take a little while to go back. But usually if we say like, hey, by the way, we really want this by the time that people are pulling papers, that's still a couple months. I think we'll be fine there. The one thing is, let's just say that there was a situation where we actually did try this out and realized that there was some sort of workflow thing that conflicted with our wording. The city solicitor, and I'm not saying this to be like rude or anything, but charges by 15-minute intervals. Like it's a, this isn't like a person we have on retainer. It's we've retained a firm to do this sort of stuff. So my preference is honestly to not send something out until we all feel 100% sure that this is what we want. And while I'm currently like 92% sure this is what we want, like I just am aware of the possibility that we try this out and suddenly realize that there's just some minor thing that we need to tweak a little bit.
Then they need to do it again.
Yeah. Would they,
yeah. Would they have to review the whole document again, or can they just review the parts that we changed? And I know that's a tricky question.
Well, I don't know, but even just those correspondences take time, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I kind of wonder how much he's really, I mean, he can maybe look at the wording, but he's not going to really understand it all that much either. And there's really no general laws that, you know, that he's going to know about. I guess my question is, do you want him to look at it and okay it before it goes to the council? Or do you want to kind of do it at the same time?
By our council rules, any ordinance does require solicitor review.
But does it require it before it even gets to the council? Or can it kind of be happening at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, what I would, I guess, do is that, you know, the moment that we feel good about this, I would send it to the solicitor. And the moment the solicitor got feedback, I would schedule a public hearing.
So it should go to the council and the city solicitor kind of at the same time. Because, I mean, if he finds something, it couldn't be tweaked in ordinance.
Well, it could, although I'd almost prefer for us to tweak it since we're the ones who understand this subject. Right. I don't think he will. I mean, frankly, like, you had a great point that when it comes down to it, we, like, there isn't currently, like, a local option bill, although, you know, there's been lobbying for it for years. So really, this is just kind of a matter of, like, provided this doesn't violate our home rule petition, which he did extensively review, I don't think there's really much else to like benchmark it against.
Right.
I don't anticipate. I'm honestly more interested in the state's review, like somewhere where there could be some weird things that pop up.
Right.
But I'm not overly worried about it.
When does the state review it?
Well, that's what I sent it off today. And it's all going to be like how it matches up with the software.
Oh, that's the process you, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I misunderstood.
I suppose something could come up at the state certification level that throws off something in the ordinance.
Okay, see, I thought you were talking only about the machine's software certificate. I didn't realize it included our ordinance.
She asked me to send, you know, the ordinance, like what we're working on. I think to make sure that I don't really know.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I didn't realize that there was like a timing thing. So we definitely.
Yeah, I guess I think July's going to be here before we know it, and that's when papers start to be taken out, and things are going to start to move along pretty quickly, and then we're going to get into budget time, and then we're going to, go into the summer schedule. of the council if it remains the summer schedule.
Yeah,
so,
we'll see about that.
Well, let's hope it does, because it should. But still, you know, time's going to fly by. So it's kind of, I don't know, in a way, I almost think it should maybe go to the solicitor now and just, but that's just, I just wonder how much he's really going to be able to really say about it, except maybe some clearing up some wording or something like that.
I guess look, I don't have a really strong opinion about this, and like if that's the opinion of the rest of the committee, I'm fine with that. My one thing is, if we send something to the city solicitor and then we realize that we have to change anything, we will have to send it back.
Yeah.
We won't be able to just fix that change and then send it forward, because I guarantee the first question I'll get from a few of my colleagues is like, has this been reviewed? And what they'll mean is, has this current draft been reviewed? Yeah. So if
I guess the question is, can it wait a month? I mean, is that okay?
Yeah, I think probably, but it's certainly, you're certainly correct that like July is going to be here before we know it.
Yeah. I mean, if we can do the training by the first week in April, you know, and get it to him like the second week in April.
Yeah.
Get it to the council by the beginning of May.
We could have public hearing by the end of May. Or we even hit the summer schedule.
Yep. So that's probably doable.
I almost think that this is sort of rolling in the next topic, but it's pertinent. I almost think we should schedule our next meeting to be in early or mid-April, so that, because I don't see an end-ish, middle end of March meeting as being that useful, honestly.
I kind of agree.
So I think it makes sense to have our next meeting be after we do the training and get the software, especially since that's going to happen in about a month.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that makes sense.
Cool. All right, then I think we should hold off,
okay,
and verify, you know, because it's not going to be very long from now. We're going to do the software training. We're going to decide if the ordinance needs any tweaks. If it doesn't, then we'll send it to the solicitor. We'll get the ball rolling with the council. It'll all happen at the same time, and we won't waste, you know, it doesn't seem to be crazy critical in terms of timing. So
I'm looking on Thursday in April. I think that I've got nothing going on the 8th or the 15th, if either of those. I guess the 15th would be the safest, right?
15th would be good because the 8th is one of the days that we might have the training, I think.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah, there's other meetings that night, but no council things and no affordable and fair housing.
The 15th is our regular meeting date anyways. No, yeah, it is.
What time you guys looking to do training on the 8th in the afternoon, right?
Yep.
Would it bleed into 6, you think?
No, I think it would be before 5.
I mean, I'd like it to be, well, yeah. I mean, maybe he could even do the end of March or something. We'll see.
Yeah, we were looking at the 29th, 30th, or 31st in March, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or the 7th or the 8th of the next week, which is a Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh, I couldn't do the 7th.
Oh, okay.
Well, unless we're done by like 5.
Okay.
I mean, what time is good for you in the afternoon, Dan? I mean, is something like 1:30 or something?
Fine.
I mean,
yeah.
How about you, Tom? Would something like that work?
This far out, I can take, I mean, like my evenings in early April are not generally great. There's a bunch of meetings that I can already see I'm going to have. But during the day, I mean, I've got a lot of vacation time, and
Okay.
I basically at this point like work solid like by myself. So, you know, I've very flexible hours.
Cool.
Okay. We'll kind of see what works for him too. you know, if it could be early afternoon, then he could be done and he could get home, and
yeah,
you know, he wouldn't have to get up super early, and you know.
I think that we also have to think about Jackie for if we're looking at the 8th or the 15th. Maybe she has got a preference for that one of those dates as well.
Oh, well, Jack, I did check the Affordable and Fair Housing Partnerships meeting in April is the 22nd. And I don't, on the 15th, there's the Senior Tax Work-Off Committee that I suspect will actually be adjourned by, like, done, wrapped up by then.
Right.
The CPA committee, which I don't, he isn't on. So, although the Affordable Housing Partnership does sometimes come to them for requests, but there's a bunch of people there. I'm not sure that would be an issue. I don't think that would be an issue. So I think those are fine. And in terms of the training, I think the most critical thing, like if there's a time that works for Dan and for Barb, but doesn't work for me, like that's like, I don't want to be making this any harder on you guys. I just, if possible, would like to be involved.
Yeah, for me, if it can be, because I'm only working, we're splitting our day right now. So I end in the office at 12:30. And so like one, you know, after 12:30 is better, because then we can go into, you know, break room or whatever and do the training in there. I don't have to worry about the office, you know. I mean, so afternoon is a little better for me.
It sounds like April 15th is a good day. So I think that should be our next meeting.
I might be crying at the meeting tax day, but
tax day, yeah.
You've got a lot of kids. That's been working out for people lately.
That's true.
Hopefully you're not doing your taxes on the 15th.
Well,
I'll be filing my extension.
Yeah. All right. So it looks like Thursday, April 15th, 6 p.m. will be our next meeting.
I did want to mention about the funding. I did put in the money that we kind of talked about at the last meeting into my budget and explained, you know, that it was, you know, what it was for. And hopefully it'll stay in there. But
when
if anyone tries to take it out in the budget hearings, I'll.
Oh, you'll put it back in. Yeah, I mean, it was for the annual fee. Like, I think I ended up with like the 4,000 plus another couple hundred or something like that, and that was, I think, about it. But
so when do we know for sure?
Well, when do we usually get the mayor's budget in April, maybe the second meeting in April or so, and then the finance. So the budget hearing is almost always the first, is the June meeting. So that will be June 2nd.
Okay. But we'll know by the middle of the summer if that money is available.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, we'll get the mayor's budget. It'll go to the council in April, and we'll see, you know. And then after that, it's just the council. Okay. So I just wanted to mention that I put it in there and
awesome.
Did my explanation, and
something that we will, I think, start to talk about more on the committee over the summer is what kind of what that education material is going to look like. I mean, I already sent out a draft of something, but we can continue to discuss what that might look like and what just the whole logistics of that we can get into. And that'll be fun. Cool.
Okay.
Any new business? Anything else at all? Y'all are awesome. We're gonna make this thing happen. It's exciting. And we already picked our next meeting date. Guys, we're done.
Okay.
It's only 6:45, 48.
Yay. Nice short meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So be healthy. And I miss, like, this committee has had one meeting in person.
Oh, one thing, actually, the council did extend this committee until next February.
Oh, okay.
So
good to know. I mean, we probably won't. I see. We'll probably not need to meet into next year, but
no.
We may want to have one
After election
post-mortem meeting after the election to just kind of debrief on it and figure out if anything needs to be done in anticipation of future ones. But
yeah, the reason it was extended was because it had been a full year. So right. Peg brought up, you know, she just felt like it should be extended. So.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Well, we still certainly have more to do. So.
All right.
All right, that's it, guys.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Oh yeah, we need to like motion to.
I moved that the meeting adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Adjourned.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Good night,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.